Hey, it's Madison with Pretty Mad Tarot and Astrology. I'm going to break down what's going on with the planets, and I'm also going to break down the post that I did on the new moon. There was so much text in that post, it was really hard to fit everything because so much is going on. So anytime we have a new moon, that means that the sun and the moon are conjunct, which really means they're sitting by each other. And anytime that they're sitting by each other, it's like emotional body versus your ego. They're sitting together. Sometimes those two things clash, and there's a lot of emotions and frustrations that come up. It's also just it's a good time to start new. Thankfully, Aries is the beginning of the new year in the astrology world. That's what we think of as our astrological new year. So Aries is here to initiate the new year, and it is during a really hard time, but I think we'll start to understand as some of the things start to unfold throughout these next few weeks. But anytime a new moon happens and the sun and the moon are conjunct each other, you are confronted with an emotion that you haven't been dealing with, and you kind of have to check in on your own attitude. So that's why it's a good time to decide what your goals are going to be for the next new moon cycle, which is 28 days. Or since this was the astrological new year, I asked, what do you want for yourself for the next 12 months? Because we're going to start the new year now. Because, I see all your memes out there that are like, 2019 is getting back at us for everything we said about it. So let's just reset. Let's restart. This is our astrological new year. We're going to start new with Aries. Aries is going to initiate change for us. And, there is a lot of change going on right now. Besides what the new moon brings up for us and kind of pisses us off, because we have to remember our emotions are in Aries, and we know Aries to be the warrior, the one who initiates change, sometimes through destruction. It's a creative way of starting a new way to be with Aries. So then we need to focus in on some of the other things that were important that were going on. So Uranus was squaring Saturn, and it was squaring Mars. So Uranus squaring Mars also adds to the Aries energy where we want to blow up. It's like we're just really sick of the old ways of being, and we're ready for a change. We're sick of our old routine. We're ready for a change. Well, here it is for us, because things are definitely probably not going the way that you used to do them. This transit challenges our sense of self-security. And, what was our sense of security? Money, having bills paid. And for a lot of us, that's been taken away. And so not only does this transit challenge our sense of self-security, but it's also on a larger scale happening to our country and then globally, because we see these governmental systems crumbling, and there's just so much going on. It's got us not feeling secure about anything right now. Because of Uranus squaring Mars, it brings this impulsiveness. It's like, we need to take action. We've got to take action. And also this, it could be assertive or it could be aggressive, right? It's your choice how you want to allow whatever's been upsetting you, how you want to express it. And, my advice in the post that I gave about these transits was that if you hold something in long enough, you will probably explode and not be happy with how you expressed yourself. The body has to release every emotion that you go through. So you can hold it in for as long as you want, but by the time that your body's ready to force you to go through it, you may regret the way that you expressed yourself. This crisis is motivating us. And so is the transit that's responsible for this crisis. It's motivating us to look for meaningfulness and find security in that. What is meaningful right now to you? You know, money was great and our lives were hectic and we were trying to figure out how to get to work and we wish we just had more time, and now we do. So it's motivating us for looking for the meaningfulness. Like, what is it about this change now that you're realizing means more to you? Is it being able to spend time with the people in your household and get back to cooking and get back to the roots of things, and maybe you're organizing and that's giving you some security because you don't have to focus on what's going on outside of your four walls. Or maybe it's that you are still working and so thankful that you're able to still work, but maybe it's the fact that you're doing something pretty heroic and you're delivering food to people, and that gives you a sense of security that you're able to earn a paycheck while you're also helping people. This is the transit that's motivating us to look for those meaningful things, and it's asking us to implement them back into our future. So when things go back to normal, I don't want to say normal because honestly we are moving into a new normal, so it wants you to implement the things that are meaningful to you into your future life. Uranus is also squaring Saturn, so this transit's also causing events that are challenging our sense of order in our social life. Because, right, things are changed now. Social life, what do you mean social life? Social media, that's what we have now. And it's not only just challenging our sense of order and how we operate, you know, on our own personal level, but again, it is challenging it in our country and as well as globally. And these disruptions that are happening are making us all question if we actually really know what is going on in the world. You know, so much information has been coming out about coronavirus and how the US treated it in the beginning compared to now is very different. And that's making us all question, like, do we actually know what's going on? Is our government protecting us? Everything's being questioned, right? How are we going to pay for our next meal? How are we going to pay our bills? And on a larger scale, that's happening to everybody. And it's really forcing us to question everything that we once knew, the same way that we're going to question our belief system, because, you know, so a lot of this is really shining light on things that can no longer be unseen. So Saturn is about restriction, and she is asking us to examine the factors that we've allowed for us to fall short of our potential. So it's restricting us from what has been keeping us from personal growth. So a lot of these old traditions and ways of being are no longer working, and it's time to move into the new. Now, Saturn has just moved into Aquarius, so it went from being in Capricorn to now in Aquarius. So when it was in Capricorn, it was about stability, government structures, and now that it's moving out, we're done with that. The way that the government was structured, the way that things were structured and made, we're done with that. And Saturn in Aquarius doesn't care what you think. We're done with that. Saturn is asking you to please shed those things. And Saturn isn't very nice to you if you don't obey it. If you do not obey the planet Saturn, it's not nice to you. So just remember that. These old ways of thinking and being are no longer working, and it's time for us to move into something new. Saturn is about bringing society together, or see, they have a flip side. Every sign has a flip side. They want to bring it together, they want to completely isolate themselves. Well, we're being forced to isolate ourselves. Those times that we wanted to hang out with friends and didn't, the times that we did and now we can't, those are all kind of like slapping us in the face. Saturn's also about technology. So our way now of us interacting with each other is like this. Or hey, maybe it's just picking up the phone and dialing a number like you used to do. Remember when you were like a child? Some of you don't actually remember having landlines. Anyways, Saturn is life lessons too. So that's why Saturn is kind of here to teach us a life lesson and changing everything as we knew it. Then the next transit that was important was Venus was in a trine with Jupiter. That is about us growing in awareness of the world within, our world, as well as the world outside. It's about, I think it's about seeing the beauty in society and on social media and how many good things people have done and said and reached out. And also I think it's about the beauty in the earth, because us taking a break from our hectic lives has allowed the earth to get back to its beauty. You know, we've seen what's happened in Venice with, you know, dolphins showing up again. The waters are clear. The smog, you know, we could see pictures of smog clearing up. Animals are returning to their habitat, basically, is the thing. And that is very healing to see. You know, Venus is about beauty, and so that brings beauty to society. And that we could find a little bit of good in this bad situation. Now, what's happening currently too with stellium, Jupiter, Pluto, Mars, and Saturn. So our emotions running high about the state of the world and the government systems. And Mars sitting in Capricorn activates real fear for us. And so it's emotional. And based on what I see in the planets, guys, we've got a little while of some of this crazy stuff going on. But we cannot allow ourselves to live in fear of what we cannot control. We can no longer say our beliefs and politics are different. You know, that's what the moon squaring this stellium is really about. And also, it's about standing firmly in our beliefs and not separating them. So, like I said, we're getting rid of the old ways of of governmental structures, and not just in the US. It's happening in a lot of places. So we can no longer say that our beliefs and politics are separate. A lot of us in the United States like to do that because, well, let's get down to the root of it. It's about money. We are leaving that behind. So we are learning to put humanity first again. It's like we have to stick up for the people who have had it the hardest, the sick, the needy. Just humanity in general, we have to learn how to put first again and care about one another. Instead of putting the value of our friendships and our relationships under the value of money. You know, like money isn't more important. You know that when you really think about that. And in your belief systems, like, you know, a lot of us, you know, say we believe that we want people to have equal rights and equal opportunity, but then, you know, if it comes to us having to give any money out to that situation, then we don't want to, and we wipe our hands clean of it. So that's what this is really going to change for all of us. We aren't going to be able to sit on the fence anymore anyways. From the transits that are happening anyways, it's almost like we can't unsee it, and it's just like it's time to change. And then lastly, we have Chiron in Aries, and we have the North Node in Cancer. And those two planets sitting in those signs means that we must stand up and fight, Aries. Chiron in Aries, to heal humanity. Heal Cancer, humanity. Saturn in Aquarius, humanity. So we must stand up and fight to heal humanity. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more again about the estellium that's causing coronavirus. Pluto is responsible for a lot of the stuff that we're seeing because Pluto is the planet of death, disease. Pluto is responsible for a lot of things, okay? Let me give you examples of what Pluto has been responsible for. When Pluto moved into Aries, I don't know what year this was, but there are records out there and you can look it up if you don't believe me, but when Pluto moved into Aries, that was when we had the bubonic plague. Okay, then Pluto was also responsible for the World War. Then Pluto was also responsible for the Spanish flu, similar to what we're going through right now. Pluto is also responsible for AIDS. The last time that we had this conjunction that we're having right now was during the Revolutionary War. Okay, so I want you to think of Pluto as like this big bad scariness, right? But it's also change and transformation. Those are other words that we use to describe Pluto. It's hard to see that when there's destruction, right? But things came from us learning from Pluto. So when Pluto was in Libra, when Pluto moved into Libra, that's when we had AIDS. Libra is about love. Well, we were being a little too free with our love. So the change and transformation that came from that was that we learned to protect ourselves if we want to be so free with our love. So we need to think of Pluto as these three words. Instead of, death and destruction, let's think of removal, rebirth, and reset. What came from us learning about AIDS? A reset. We were like, oh yeah, use condoms. Oh yeah, use condoms. That was the rebirth. That was the reset. That also made it possible for us to talk about it on TV. At that point in time, it was very taboo to really talk about like sex or even people who are gay, and this was hitting the gay community a lot at that time. And so this allowed us to reset and rebirth how we deal with those issues. We talk about them, we educate people, and hopefully after that, I think people were really smart because they were scared. Nowadays, I know some people in my generation are not scared enough and they need to be. And then also, again, when Pluto entered Capricorn the last time, it was during the Revolutionary War. So let's again look at these words that we want to put with Pluto. In 1773, that's when we had the Revolutionary War. And it was us trying to get our independence from the British. Well, in 1776, that's when we gained our independence. And that war is destruction, right? What good could come from the destruction? We built an economy for the United States. And we made a democracy. So that was our reset. That was our rebirth. That was our transformation. And so as horrible as everything that is going on right now, we have to find the beauty and we have to find a little bit of good in these situations, and that our governmental system is crumbling. And I can tell you right now, in the next few weeks, we're going to hear even more crazy stuff. I would say probably next week we're going to hear a lot more crazy stuff. It's going to be more social distancing, and we're already seeing them put more restrictions on us. Again, Saturn in Aquarius, restrictions. Things are things have to change, and this isn't over yet. We've got a little bit more, I don't want to say a little bit, we've got a while of this, guys, and we're gonna have to do our best to keep our spirits up. Because, like I said, Pluto is going to bring us removal, rebirth, and a reset, just like this astrological new year. Let's all reset together. I wish you guys all the best. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe and stay sane. Thanks, guys.